The Rape of the Lock. Canto 4. Alexander Pope. But anxious cares the pensive nymph oppressed, and secret passions labored in her breast. Not youthful kings in battle seized alive, not scornful virgins who their charms survive, not ardent lovers robbed of all their bliss, not ancient ladies win refuse to kiss, not tyrants fierce that unrepenting die, not Cynthia when her manto's pinned awry, ere felt such rage, resentment, and despair, as thou, sad virgin, for thy ravished hair. For, that sad moment, when the sylphs withdrew, and Ariel weeping from Belinda flew, Umbriel, a dusky, melancholy sprite, as ever sullied a fair face of light, down to the central earth, his proper scene, repair to search the gloomy cave of spleen. Swift on his sooty pinions flits the gnome, and in a vapor reached the dismal dome. No cheerful breeze this sullen region knows, the dreaded east is all the wind that blows. Here, in a grotto, sheltered close from air, and screened in shades from day's attested glare, she sighs forever on her pensive bed, pain at her side, and Megrim at her head. Two handmaids wait the throne, alike in place, but differing far in figure and in face. Here stood ill nature like an ancient maid, her wrinkled form in black and white arrayed, with store of praise single quotares, for mornings, nights, and noons, her hand is filled, her bosom with lampoons. Their affectation, with a sickly mien, shows in her cheek the roses of 18, practised to lisp, and hang the head aside, feigns into airs, and languishes with pride, on the rich quilt sinks with becoming woe, wrapped in a gown, for sickness, and for show. The fair ones feel such maladies as these, when each new night dress gives a new disease. A constant vapor o'er the palace flies, strange phantoms, rising as the mists arise, dreadful, as hermit streams in haunted shades, or bright, as visions of expiring maids. Now glaring fiends, and snakes on rolling spires, pale specters, gaping tombs, and purple fires, now lakes of liquid gold, Elysian scenes, and crystal domes, and angels in machines. Unnumbered throngs on every side are seen, of bodies changed to various forms by spleen. Here living teopotes stand, one arm held out, one bend the handle this, and at the spout, a pipkin there, like Homer's tripod walks. Here sighs a jar, and there a goose pie talks. Men prove with child, as powerful fancy works, and maids turned bottles, call aloud for corks. Safe passed the gnome through this fantastic band, a branch of healing spleenwort in his hand. Then thus addressed the pal single quotar, ampersand quo. Hail, wayward queen, who rule the sex to 50 from 15, parent of vapors and of female wit, who give this hysteric, or poetic fit, on various tempers act by various ways, make some take physic, others scribble plays, who cause the proud their visits to delay, and send the godly in a pet to pray. A nymph there is, that all thy pal single quotar disdains, and thousands more in equal mirth maintains. But oh, if e'er thy gnome could spoil a grace, or raise a pimple on a beauteous face, like citron waters matrons' cheeks inflame, or change complexions at a losing game. If e'er with airy horns thy planted heads, or rumpled petticoats, or tumbled beds, or cowsed suspicion when no soul was rude, or discomposed the headdress of a prude, or e'er to costive lapdog gave disease, which not the tears of brightest eyes could ease, hear me, and touch Belinda with chagrin. That single act gives half the world's spleen. Ampersand quo. The goddess with a discontented air seems to reject him, though she grants his praise single quotar. A wondrous bag with both her hands she binds, like that where once Ulysses held the winds. There she collects the force of female lungs, sighs, sobs, and passions, and the war of tongues. A vial next she fills with fainting fears, soft sorrows, melting griefs, and flowing tears. The gnome rejoicing bears her gifts away, spreads his black wings, and slowly mounts to day. Sunk in Thylestra's arms the nymph he found, her eyes dejected and her hair unbound. Full o'er their heads the swelling bag he rent, and all the furies issued at the vent. Belinda burns with more than mortal ire, and fierce Thylestra's fans the rising fire. Ampersand quo. O wretched maid! Ampersand quo. She spread her hands, and cried, while Hampton's echoes, ampersand quo. Wretched maid. Ampersand quo. Replied, ampersand quo. Was it for this you took such constant care the bodkin, comb, and essence to prepare? For this your locks in paper durance bound, for this with torturing irons wreathed around? For this with fillets strained your tender head, and bravely bore the double loads of lead? Gods! Shall the ravisher display your hair, while the fops envy, and the ladies stare? Honor forbid! At whose unrivaled shrine is pleasure, virtue, all, our sex resign. Methinks already I your tears survey, already hear the hard things they say, already see you a degraded toast, and all your honor in a whisper lost. How shall I, then, your helpless fame defend? 'Twill then be infamy to seem your friend. And shall this prize, this inestimable prize, exposed through crystal to the gazing eyes, and heightened by the diamond's circling rays, on that your precious hand forever blaze? Sooner shall grass in Hyde Park Circus grow, and wits take lodgings in the sound of bow. Sooner let earth, air, sea, to chaos fall, men, monkeys, lapdogs, parrots, perish all. Ampersand quo, she said. Then raging to Sir Plume repairs, and bids her beau demand the precious hairs. Sir Plume, of amber snuff box justly vain, and the nice conduct of a clouded cane. With earnest eyes, and round unthinking face, he first the snuff box opened, then the case, and thus broke out and quo. My lord, why, what the devil? Z dash 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 ds. Damn the lock. 'Fore gad, you must be civil. Plague on single quotee. 'Tis past a jest nay prithee, pox. Give her the hair and quo. He spoke, and rapped his box. Ampersand quo. It grieves me much, ampersand quo. Replied the peer again, ampersand quo. Who speaks so well should ever speak in vain. But by this lock, this sacred lock I swear, which never more shall join its parted hair, which never more its honors shall renew, clipped from the lovely head where late it grew, that while my nostrils draw the vital air, this hand, which won it, shall forever wear. Ampersand quo. He spoke, and speaking, in proud triumph spread the long contended honors of her head. But Umbriel, hateful gnome, forbears not so. He breaks the vial whence the sorrows flow. Then see, the nymph in beauteous grief appears, her eyes half languishing, half drowned in tears. On her heaved bosom hung her drooping head, which, with a sigh, she eyed. And thus she said, ampersand quo. Forever cursed be this detested day, which snatched my best, my favourite curl away. Happy, ah 10 times happy, had I been, if Hampton Court these eyes had never seen. Yet am not I the first mistaken maid, by love of course to numbers else betrayed. Oh, had I rather unadmired remained in some lone isle, or distant northern land, where the gilt chariot never marks the way, where none learn Imbra, none e'er taste Bahia. There kept my charms concealed from mortal eye, like roses, that in deserts bloom and die. What moved my mind with youthful lords to roam? Oh, had I stayed, and said my prate single quotaras at home. 'Twas this, the morning omens seemed to tell, thrice from my trembling hand the patch box fell. The tote-ring china shook without a wind, nay, Pole sat mute, and shock was most unkind. A sylph too warned me of the threats of fate, in mystic visions, now believed too late. See the poor remnants of these slighted hairs. My hands shall rend what even thy rapine spares. These, into sable ringlets taught to break, once gave new beauties to the snowy neck. The sister lock now sits uncouth, alone, and in its fellow's fate foresees its own. Uncurled it hangs, the fatal shears demand, and tempts once more thy sacrilegious hands. Oh, hadst thou, cruel, been content to seize hairs less in sight, or any hairs but these. Ampersand quo.